It's the moment you've been waiting for, folks. 4K gaming at over 60 frames per second. There's now finally a card that can deliver an uncompromised gaming experience in almost every single title, giving super smooth frame rates at ultra settings in UHD resolution. But I think that it would perhaps be a little naive not to expect brilliant performance from something that costs almost £1,100. So I think the real question is, what are the numbers like, and is this actually worth the asking price? Well, let's cut straight to the chase with the numbers, because I'm sure it's what you want to see. The RTX 2080 Ti is the beast we were all hoping for, with an average minimum frame rate of 62 at the full-fat 4K resolution ultra settings. And this is absolutely huge, as you'll be able to fully saturate your monitor with 60 frames a second in the vast majority of your gaming library, and if you're lucky enough to own a fast refresh rate 4K monitor, you're actually going to be able to use it. Comparing against the 1080, you're looking at an average boost to 4K frame rate of 71% with a 2080 Ti, and then 36% with a 2080. These numbers are not to be sniffed at, and in the real world, it is so impressive. I really couldn't get over just how smooth Battlefield 1 felt. It is absolutely incredible. Move on to 1440p, and here both cards can really stretch their legs, with even Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the most demanding game in our suite, completely unable to topple these RTX cards. The thing that really surprises me is just how fast these cards can run in the 3 multiplayer titles, with both GPUs proving more than you'd ever need for a competitive edge. The RTX 2080 would certainly be my pick here, as the 2080 Ti is unlikely to provide any real game-changing performance at this resolution. Finally, we have 1080p, but unless you're running a 240Hz monitor and care about frame rate above all else, I really wouldn't advise getting one of these cards. The numbers are insane, no doubt about that, with almost 200 frames a second in Fortnite, but even with an Intel 8086K, we're still getting some CPU bottlenecking. And to be fair, we could definitely clear this up with a bit of overclocking, but if you can afford one of these graphics cards, it makes far more sense to get a 1440p display first, as these GPUs are built for way more than just Full HD gaming. But the thing is about this generation, they're more than just fast processors, and we've had a bit of a shake up to the architecture that means that they're not just great for games in the traditional manner. The latest generation, dubbed Turing, is all about parallel processing, with 2 additional subsections within the GPU itself that are built for deep learning and ray tracing. This means that the GPU can render lifelike shadows in real time, as well as improve game fidelity with something known as DLSS. Deep learning supersampling, as it's known, looks to be very important for 4K gaming, as it can be enabled to reduce the jagged edges in a similar manner to anti-aliasing, but without really taking a performance hit. It does all of this with the tensor cores that are built on board the GPU, but it will only work in certain supported games, and it currently only works at UHD resolution. So it is a tad limited, but in essence it does seem like a great way to increase the frame rates by disabling anti-aliasing without really getting a hit to the visuals. I've actually already put together a video that goes through everything in much clearer detail, so if you're interested in the Turing architecture and how all of this stuff works, then you can find that video in the top right hand corner of your screen. Now at this stage you've probably already heard of the ray tracing capabilities of the cards, here measured in the mildly amusing name GigaRays. As with the DLSS, this tech works in parallel to the usual game rendering, here enabled by the RT cores on the GPU die. In theory, this will allow for beautiful shadows and reflections while only taking a very minimal performance hit, as all of the work gets offloaded to a different part of the GPU. It's pretty disappointing though that at this stage I can't actually test any of this because we're waiting for the Windows update that will actually enable all of this. I think there is like a developer tweak that I can do for one of the demos, but to me it doesn't really seem worth it to review this when I can look at one demo. So all of this will be reserved until the future update arrives, and we will be covering this in greater detail, so do get subscribed if you want to see that. But in the meantime, I guess no GigaRays for us. So then, this is RTX. We've waited over 2 years for this generation, and the new cards are undoubtedly impressive. The Founders Edition proves that Nvidia isn't messing around, with a move to a dual fan design that I think is a lot more attractive and is a lot quieter, and in my Corsair 2 ATX, it was actually the CPU cooler that was audible, which is a real step forward from the old blower style design. There's also the new I/O, which is equipped with 3 DisplayPorts, an HDMI, and now even USB-C, which is very useful for future VR headsets and high-end displays. And then finally there's HDR, with Nvidia claiming lower latency over Pascal and a significantly reduced impact on FPS. You're now equipped with everything you need to know, but perhaps this has all been avoiding the question, are they actually worth buying? Well, the elephant in the room is of course the price, and for most people it's going to be a major obstacle in accessing this RTX generation. The cards I have here were indeed review samples, and for reference I purchased both the 680 and 980 on launch day, and both were just over £400. It's a very steep increase then, and for many it will be very difficult to justify. After all, we've had a big jump in performance on those cards, so why is it any different this time? Well, I think it is a combination of a few things, but ultimately business reasons must be one of them. If you can develop, manufacture and then sell a product for more money and people will buy it, then isn't that a sensible thing to do? If you're pushing forward the levels of performance by pumping all of this R&D into your product and then you can sell it, is there anything wrong with that? It's something that Apple and Samsung are clearly doing with their £1,000 phones, and while people are complaining about those, they're still selling by the bucket load. While it may be very frustrating, what you get this time is very different to what came before, and this is why you might want to consider buying one. We're seeing a huge increase in raw performance, yes, but there's a new way of rendering games with deep learning and ray tracing that could prove a literal game changer. It's just a shame that we won't know whether this tech is going to really take off for at least 6 months, probably even a year. So at the moment, I'd say look at your monitor, its resolution, and what you actually want out of your gaming experience. If you want the best at any cost, you're prepared to wait for the amazing concept of real-time ray tracing, and will be driving a high-end display, then go for it. That's exactly what these cards are for. But if you're on the fence and aren't sure whether this new tech is worth it or not, then just wait. I doubt the cards are going to get any cheaper, but there'll be more information out there, and it will be much easier to make an informed buying decision. Remember, information is power. So I think that the question really goes out to you. Is RTX worth it? Are you on the fence? Are you impressed by its performance, its future capabilities? Or do you think that the price is too high and the performance could be better? Let me know down in that comment section below, as I assure you I will be reading every single one and replying to as many as possible. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, I assure you it helps me out massively. And obviously get subscribed if you do want more videos just like this, delivered straight to your subscription feed. But as always, a massive thank you to Asus ROG for sponsoring the channel, you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.